Hi guys, my name is Edrick. I'm a year 3 in UW. I'm taking the major in big data, and I'm from Jakarta, and here I am in Singapore. I went from foundation in UTS in search, so then that's supposed to lead up to going into UTS kan. So I would get a 1-year exemption, but then COVID happened, so I was taking my classes online, and then it took I had to join their online classes and pay like I think 40k. With scholarship that's around 30k per year, and that's like really expensive, right? And it's online also, so not worth it. Then I thought I saw other opportunities in Singapore, and I saw like SIM is like, oh, UW is only like 10k a year, education's like should be roughly the same, right? And you go to university just for the people that you meet, and I think I found a pretty good community as well here. I joined something called 365 Data Science, and it trains you to be a data scientist in a sense, and I completed that over 3 months, but honestly I didn't really learn much. It's not much real world applications, right? So from there I decided, oh, I'm kind of bored of this. Then I went on to Kaggle, because I heard Kaggle is a data science platform for people to apply their skills to real world scenarios, right? And there's a community on there as well. So I decided to join a machine learning competition from Kaggle, and I joined a few, met a few friends. Then I gradually built, like, I guess you could say, a personal brand on there while I was in my gap year. Let's start with this. Do you guys know Michael Reeves?
I've heard.
So he's a guy who does robotics and tases people. I was like, oh, that's funny. And then because of that, I ended up looking into how to program. And then I also like to play this video game called Dota 2 back then. And I saw OpenAI do a Dota 2 like bot, and that's like in the AI field, right? So I was like, oh, that sounds fun. I want to do this in the future. So I ended up looking into machine learning, and I went down into this rabbit hole, and here I am. I guess while I was doing Kaggle competitions, right, I was also doing Twitter at the time. I think most of you don't know this, but I did Twitter, and I was trying to develop a personal brand, because that was my niche, right? I was like a younger person going into data science, and I was just tweeting about what I learned. And I realized, oh, I can actually gain followers from this, and people actually want my skill. So based on that, then I can infer I can probably make a living out of this. There's two things that motivate a person. So there's passion, of course. Passion is something you're good at, right? And the other thing is purpose. So purpose is how your passion can positively impact other people. So I think to find your passion, it's just through experimenting. Back then I had this mindset that I don't like to be in my comfort zone. So if I'm always uncomfortable, that means I'm in a good spot. So I was looking at going to competitions, finding new people that I'm very uncomfortable with and interacting with them, because I was a very shy kid back then. So I think that's how I found my passion in the end, and my purpose is developed through like interacting with people, finding community, right, and seeing how I can positively impact them through tech. Well, everyone just says like, oh, there's bugs, there's the natural like code errors, and in the end what the solution is just to read through something called documentation. And that's like your user manual on how to do a certain thing, but it's not as straightforward as that, because you have to apply some extra stuff on top of documentation, right, to get the program working. And I guess my tip is just to be consistent, like show up every day. Like for me personally, I always go to school every day because I won't work at home. And yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. You need to develop a healthy lifestyle. And for me and a lot of Indo people, I think we strive on community, right? So how I see it is that I like, for community, I like to focus on these three things, which is physical, technical, and spiritual. So physical, I like just go to the gym, then I meet people there, and then it keeps me healthy and in good shape, right? Then we get to technical. I coincidentally found very good technical friends. They're all Indo as well in my UOW batch. So every day I just hang out with them, and then every time we discover like bugs and stuff, we like laugh it off together. It's like quite fun. So it's better than suffering alone. And yeah, and spiritual, I joined like a local Indo church here, and that way I can like have the will to keep going, you know. Kaggle is, like I said, a data science platform, right? So it's not only machine learning competitions, but it also has data sets, also has people's code on how to solve several data science problems. And there's also, I think it's mainly those two and three with competitions. So competitions, you have to get the best metric for a certain problem, and you get ranked via a leaderboard. So it's very non-subjective, and you can apply several tips and tricks to be able to boost those metrics. And yeah, to me, Kaggle is a place where you can learn a lot from other people, and you can also team up with them, and you guys can share ideas to try to get to the top of the leaderboard. When I started, I joined something called Tabular Playground Series. It's called TPS, and every month they would have something called a playground competition, and this is on data that is tabular. So like Excel sheets, like that's tabular data, right? And based on those competitions, I can like start like building my knowledge on simpler machine learning methods. And over time, I built up my knowledge to be able to tackle the more complicated ones. So some deep learning ones, which is like image recognition or natural language processing, that kind of stuff.
That's nice. And it's also like one of your achievements, right? I saw that you placed 20th out
30th.
of 19 and 42 teams.
Oh, okay, yeah, one of them for the beginner competition.
Yeah, could you tell us more about like what pushed you to join that specific competition, and like where did you get the idea for the project itself?
Oh, okay, so the idea for the competition is actually given by the competition. So the problem statement is given by the competition, right? Then the data set is also given. So everyone has the same data set, but everyone can implement machine learning methods differently. And for me, how I know is literally just an email from Kaggle, because I downloaded a data set from there, and they're like, oh, you look like a beginner, why don't you try joining this competition? And at the time I was like bored of my data science course, right? So I'm like, oh, okay, let's go. Pathfinder is a competition about giving a certain score to a certain pet picture. So how cute this pet picture is. Let's say your pet picture is very dark and has a lot of unwanted features in the picture, then you would get a lower score. But if your picture has like a clear face of a dog and no other obstruction, then you would get a higher score on that. So in a sense, it helps the adoption agencies tell people how to take pictures and then raise their adoption rates. So I like this problem statement, and it was a simpler competition compared to the other competitions at the time, and it was on computer vision. So technically I got into deep learning for the first time when I joined a competition. And to do that, I learned from this book called Deep Learning with PyTorch, I believe. Then I applied that knowledge onto the competition and mostly read other people's codes and applied them for myself. Then over time, I tried my own little tweaks and tips and tricks on them, and then that helped me like up my leaderboard rating. But I also got to know people from the leaderboard, and I teamed up with them, and they offered more solutions and more tips and tricks. So we eventually pushed up to 30th out of 3.5k people, I think. Yeah. So how I got into hackathons is that I got to Singapore, right? Then I realized, oh, I cannot intern here. That's a problem because IT needs portfolios, right? So I figured, what's the next best thing? Oh, Singapore hosts a lot of hackathons. So hackathons, in a sense, is my replacement for internships for my portfolio. And I've been joining since year 1, I think. And my role as like an IT person kind of shifted from like machine learning research to software engineering because of hackathons. Okay, so can I give a technical answer as well?
Can.
Okay, so first of all, it is intimidating. There's gonna be a lot of very smart people, and if you're assuming like, oh, I'm just a year 1, I just learned Java from this subject and I don't know what to do. So my suggestion would be first to learn a front-end framework, so things like React and I think Django. Then there's also back-end frameworks that you can learn, so something like Express or Flask. So based on these things, if you already have front-end and back-end, then you can already build a fully functioning app. Just follow some tutorials, then build your own projects. Then I think you'll build up the confidence to go into a hackathon and be like, oh, I can actually build something in these next 24 hours, even though I only have this little experience, and just shock the world. Okay, based on that, then I think we have less coursework, right, in SIM compared to NUS, NTU, those big name unis, and we have more free time to be able to spend that on more hackathons, like things that we can do outside of school. And based on that combination of finding smart friends and having more free time, and just the location being in Singapore, there's already a lot of hackathons going on here. And these 3 things, I think, is like the big formula of why I choose to join hackathons given the situation, and it's worked quite well so far. First of all, the IT culture here is more embedded, right, in Singapore than in Indonesia. There's a lot of gaps where we can fill in Indonesia where IT is needed. We can scale a lot more with IT, and that I think I can bring new knowledge from here back to Indo as well. The problem statement is that we're supposed to automate lung cancer treatment. So you'd get a CT scan from a hospital, and then you would run that through the deep learning model, and it would come out to segmentation. So segmentation is like this part, like top right of the lungs has this infection, bottom left has this infection, something like that. And we use that to help the doctors, like we help guide the doctors for radiotherapy and where to treat in the lungs. Well, the first expected result was that we would make like a research paper, so outlining like the results we got with different models. And then for us and my SIM friends personally, a research paper in machine learning, if you publish one of those, it's a feat, and it's a plus point for when you're applying for jobs. And other than that, I guess, is to help like the people in Nigeria, because we're building for them, right? And yeah, I guess that's about it. IT is about scaling solutions, right? And reducing the menial work people have to do. So in a sense, I want to be involved in improving the quality of life, in a sense, by removing all of those boring admin work and like whatever else. And where I see myself in the future, I'm earning like 150K with 3 kids, loving wife, and other purposes. Well, for me personally, I haven't found a specific problem statement that I want to work on, but I believe that learning about machine learning and AI is gonna help me tackle those problems with the latest technology and build more interesting solutions. Yeah. Okay, advice I would give to my SMP self is that first, it's fine to do it for the money, but over time, I think you can't survive on your purpose being only money. You have to slowly tilt the compass towards a purpose that will help you assist other people and give back to your community. And yeah, or selfish ambition like building the OpenAI Dota bot. Even like little things like those, that will keep you going, not just the money. Can I suggest technical resources?
Can.
Okay, so I guess if I were to start now at this age again, completely fresh from IT, then I would take this free Harvard course, this thing called CS50. You guys can also look that up. I'll give you the link. And from there, you have to find something that you want to learn, like a specific thing. So back then, I was really interested as well in video game companies, right? So I learned web scraping to be able to get information on like video games they produced. And yeah, just these small little like skills like web scraping, sometimes data science, sometimes front end, sometimes back end, and all these things accumulate over time, and they make you a versatile person, and you can build interesting solutions to problem statements, and that's the core of IT. I think if you start in IT and you realize down the line that, oh, I don't like IT, but the thing is, IT is very versatile, right? So maybe what you could do is that you find a problem statement in an area which you're actually interested in. So if you feel like your place is serving children, then you already learned the skills for IT. You might as well apply them for children, even though your prototype might not be as good, but you can at least help drive a change towards the place you're interested in, and that will help you develop the passion.
Okay, so you're saying it's never too late.
Alright. And kayak gak sia-sia lah
Yeah.
whatever you're learning is.
Okay, Elon Musk said this. So his advice to younger people would be helpful to other people, like be of use to other people, create more than you consume. And I believe that's true for all of us, right? Because we live in a society of finite value, then we need to create more to be able to create more of the economic pie. So I guess there's that, and keep yourself motivated, keep your physical, mental, technical, and spiritual in check, and everything else will come naturally. And just do your best, let God do the rest. In I think I'm in a good place in SIM because I found people that are smarter than me as well, technically. And I didn't expect that coming to SIM because I thought SIM was like a okay, I'll be honest with you, the project kind of went bust. Yeah, so it's a... Yeah.
Thank you so much. That's all for our interview today. Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you.
Yay.